Hey there, everyone. It is Kim with another New York session market recap. It is Monday, July 29th, and I want to welcome you and thank you for listening. First, I'd like to begin by going over a quick review of our trading risk disclosure so everyone is on the same page about the details and the risks in trading. If you're new to trading or if you've been around trading for a while, you should be really aware of trading is a really risky venture for everyone who trades, whether you're an experienced trader like myself or you're just starting out. We have to all take complete and full responsibility for our own trading and our own results. There's never any guarantees or promises when you listen to these trading recap videos. Everyone comes with a different background and with different money triggers. So let's go ahead and get started. I have a set of trading guidelines that everyone who comes through the doors of the Price Action Traders Institute is expected to learn and to follow. We have a planning process. We have a 20-second planning process. That process gives us the ability to identify our exact setups. And then we get to choose and pick which pair or pairs we want to trade during a session. And then we have to execute on that plan, because having a plan is no good unless you actually execute on it. All right, so let's go out to the charts and take a look at what happened today. All right, so this morning I came to the screens around 15 minutes before the New York Open. The New York stock market opens at 6:30 my time, 9:30 Eastern. And when I looked at the euro dollar, this pair was just ranging. There was really no tradable opportunities set up. Tried to break this range a couple times, but really never went anywhere. So passed on that trade immediately. Euro yen, a little bit later in the session. And if you look at this break right here, this was 7 o'clock my time. So about 30 minutes into the New York Open, there was this big, beautiful, what we call an RBO, range breakout trade. And that trade actually moved up about 38 pips and hit a couple profit targets along the way. I did not take that because I was focused on this pair, the pound dollar. The pound dollar had this extremely beautiful drop, big move. We have not seen the pound move like we had seen it move overnight during the London session. There was big move right at the time I came on. I got into a trade right here, and I'll go ahead and bring those screenshots up after we're done looking at the tradable opportunities. I wanted to trade the pound this morning. I saw this big expansive move. If you measure this move from high to where it had gone already 140 pips before I decided, or not, I shouldn't say decided, before I actually had an opportunity to get into a trade. The pound yen, a little bit different, had a ranging Asian session, but then had this break down right here that actually, right in here, that actually held and put in this beautiful clear move. And I also wanted to get into this move and wasn't actually able to until a little bit later, around the 7 a.m. hour, same as the pound dollar. The Australian dollar, there was no trades on this. It was just ranging. It was in this very tight channel of about 22 pips. And the Australian yen, it did have a break. And again, I was only interested in the pound because of the large move overnight. This did break, but only went up about 12 pips. It wasn't a big run. The dollar yen had been ranging and then had this break around, let's see, what time was this around? This was just before 8 a.m. my time. I did not see this move, and I wasn't tracking this pair. Again, I was focused on the pound. And the dollar CAD had a break, never went anywhere, and closed back inside the range. The CAD yen did have a beautiful break and held that breaking line from here, from this point right here, and moved up about 25 pips. Nice stair-stepping price action on this. The New Zealand dollar, I had this in a range. It broke, came back inside the range, and then closed eventually back inside the range. Never really any trades to look at. And then one pair I added was the euro pound. And this one, because of the pound with such an extensive move, had this big, beautiful move, big range break during the London session that just carried on and had moved 78 pips by the time I looked at it. Now, my focus today, again, was only on the pound pairs. I typically only trade the first 10 pairs that we just looked at, And today I added the euro pound simply because of the pound move. Now let's go to the Sunday newsletter, because I just want to talk to you briefly about my sentiment about the pound and what we talk about in the membership. All right, so what you're looking at is a screenshot of yesterday's Sunday email that went out to all the Patty members. And in this space right in here, you'll notice the pound and how I have been saying for months that I'm going to continue to monitor the volatility because it's been very spiky and volatile, and only consider CDMs or clear directional moves to trade. Now that Boris Johnson has become Prime Minister of the UK, unfortunately, it doesn't appear as if the pound will stabilize anytime soon. And so I'm only looking for very specific, clear, stair-stepping price action to trade. Today I woke up and that's exactly what we had. So let's go to my charts. Let's go to the trades I actually took today and just quickly take a peek. All right, so what you're looking at here is the first, what I call yellow line trade. It's a pullback entry based on our criteria that I got into this morning on this pair. Went short. This pair had a 10 pip stop. Here's the next screenshot. You can see my entry back up in here. Price has now come through the first level and actually has hit the second level down. And I've moved this stop now to protect and lock in plus 30 pips on this trade. And I'm targeting down here at 2200 even. As price moves through 2220, I then pull my stop, my protective stop down again to lock in 40 pips. And actually I moved my limit way down here below 2200 and down at 2180. And as luck would have it, price turned around and hit my protective stop. So it took me out for plus 40. So that was the GU, the first trade I took, plus 40. All right, so what you're looking at here is the pound yen, or the GJ. After this big drop, we had what is called a changeover candle. And when we have that candle, we have certain rules before we can get in. This was actually the first place that I could get into this trade, and I took this pair short here. And let's go ahead and take a look at the next screenshot. And you can see I moved my stop down as price barreled through 133 even and was heading towards the next target down at 132.80. And as luck would have it on this trade, price whipped around and took me out for plus 15 on that first pound yen trade. So let's go back to the pound dollar. And after my protective stop was hit on that first trade for plus 40, I had another opportunity to get back into the market right here. And again, I was looking for price to drop down into 2200. And I actually punched out of this trade for plus 13. It was starting to get late in the session and I just didn't want to take on any risk. At the exact same time I got back in the pound dollar after my protective stop was hit and got in that second trade, I decided to get back into the pound yen, and I had a chance right here. I got back into it, and this one I actually moved my protective stop down, so let's take a look at what that looked like. At this point in time, when I took this screenshot, I had just moved my protective stop to lock in 11. And actually what happened was at the same time I jumped out of the pound dollar for plus 13, I jumped out of this for plus 19. I don't think it ever came and hit my target, but that's what happened on that one. So on all of these trades, on the pound dollar, on the GU, I took plus 40 and plus 13 on two trades for plus 53. And then on this pound yen, also, I took two trades. And remember, the first trade, I came out with plus 15 if my protective stop was hit. And then I punched out with plus 19, giving me plus 34, which ended up giving me plus 87. And then all the while this was going on, I was in another trade with one move only. And let me go out to that, and that is the euro pound. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I typically only look at the 10 pairs that we plan for during our planning session, but because the pound was in such an unusual and rare move that we haven't seen in, I can't even remember how long, it's been so long, I took a look at the euro pound. One, because the euro was ranging, and two, because of the the weakness in the pound. I thought the euro pound might be a really good trade to get into. When I came to look, it was at the perfect setup point at a beautiful pullback area. And you can see I got long here and have a 10 pip stop. Almost immediately, this trade started taking off and started and broke the actual overnight high that had been placed just about a half hour before I came to the screen. And at this point, I moved my protective stop up to lock in plus 20, and I was targeting up here at 91.20. Next, at this point, price starts to accelerate towards that limit order that's set up here at 91.20, and I move my protective stop to lock in plus 30. And again, I'm pulling my stop up every time there's a little bit of an incremental move. As price just started to break this overnight high here, I moved this up to lock in 40. And now you should be able to see prices extending, and it's getting really close to 91.20. And I decide I don't want to give too much back on this trade, so I'm going to lock in plus 45. What I did was, as price came up to here and started to fade, I ended up taking it off for plus 51. So let's do just a really quick recap of all of these trades again. And if you remember, the pound dollar, I took 2 trades, plus 40 on the first one, plus 13 for plus 53. On the pound yen, I also took 2 trades. The first one, my protective stop was hit for plus 15. The second one I punched out with plus 19 for a total of plus 34. And then on this one, the euro pound, I had 1 trade. I kept moving that stop and pulling it, punched out because it just didn't look like it was going to hit 20 for plus 51. That gave me today's total of 138. This is a big day. I have not had the opportunity to trade like this in a very long time. This is one of those outside days. All right, we don't get to see those too often, but I was prepared to work, and the pound was the pair to be in today and to really work. All right, so just a reminder, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at info@priceactiontradersinstitute.com. Go to our website at priceactiontradersinstitute.com, or follow me on Twitter at PriceActionKim. And again, thank you for listening. I hope this helps you think about your trading, and when you have a process that you can use over and over, it's duplicatable, it's simple to use, is when you can actually accelerate on the big days and help yourself manage the down days a little bit better. All right, thanks again for listening. Kim Crumpus, have a super day.